and welcome to the Libertarian Alternative. My name is Mark Selzer, and the Libertarian Alternative is an educational television show brought to your community by the Libertarian Party. We're here at the San Diego Party Convention with the chair of the San Diego Libertarian Party, Edward Tescher. Thanks for coming out.
Thanks for having me.
Did I pronounce your name correctly?
That's fine. That's great.
Good. Okay, so how long have you been the chair here in San Diego?
Oh, gee, I think it's been about 5 years now. I just got reelected today, and this will be my fifth time.
Fifth time?
Fifth year, yes. Just got reelected the fourth time.
So you elect every year?
That's right. Every year. This is our annual convention, and we have an election. We have our annual meeting for all the members in January, and that's when we elect our officers. We elect a full slate of officers: a chair, two vice chairs, membership chair, a treasurer, secretary. All the officers are elected here, and again, I was re-elected chair.
And you run candidates in?
We run candidates all throughout the county. The San Diego Libertarian Party is the Libertarian Party for all of San Diego County. And as chair, I see it as a very important goal for the Libertarian Party to run candidates in as many offices that we can, particularly the partisan offices. The partisan offices, as you know, are the offices that are defined by party, so the Republican Party or Democratic Party or Libertarian or whatever. So all the state legislators, the federal legislators like Congress, U.S. Senate, the statewide offices like governor, lieutenant governor, insurance commissioner, attorney general, those are all statewide offices. All these races are partisan races. And so I want to have libertarian candidates running in as many of those offices, both statewide and here just in the county, as we can. As you probably know, and your viewers might be interested in knowing, is that the Libertarian Party of San Diego, although small, is actually the largest libertarian party. Actually, I think it's the second largest libertarian party in the country. So we have more libertarians in San Diego County than just about any other county. I think Los Angeles is the only county that has more libertarians than we do.
But you have a greater density per population.
That's true, and I think we also have more activists too. And it's not just a matter of quantity, but it's also quality. We have some outstanding libertarian activists here. Richard Ryder,
Tom Homan. Yourself.
Well, thank you very much.
And you have been, before we talk about some of the things you're doing now and some of the things you're planning, let's talk about some of the things that the Libertarian Party here in San Diego has done to make an impact. Besides running candidates, besides giving people a choice on the ballot, you've also been involved in a lot of tax fighting initiatives.
That's correct. Yes, that's correct. Those are one of the things.
And been successful?
Well, I think so. I think we're successful many times. One of the things that we do is that we are oftentimes the only people who are fighting some of these tax and spend measures. The Libertarian Party is very much opposed to increased taxation, for example. So what we're doing is we're taking a look at all these tax and spend measures, particularly bond measures, and fighting them. And many times these bond measures are couched in terms, well, it's for the children and
for the libraries,
for the hospitals. I mean, for the courthouses, for the police, for the fire, things like that. So we take a look at those and we just member those arguments.
Right.
And we take apart.
Because a lot of times they're not really for those things.
Oh, that's true. That's absolutely true. Or the money gets appropriated
for something
and then
else.
then it gets spent off, and then it gets diverted someplace else.
Or it's for the schools and it goes to bigger bureaucracies and more salaries for the bureaucrats rather than for the kids.
Well, for example, the last time in 1999, for example, we fought Proposition L, which was a special tax measure to support the libraries. And we were told by the politicians that this was a measure, there was no plan B. If this didn't work, our libraries were going to be shut down. There was no way of getting any more libraries in the county. And we just said, no, that's not true at all. Richard Ryder, for example, wrote an article, and he said that in 6 months, all these libraries, which they say are going to be shut down or are going to have to be closed because they're decrepit, in 6 months, they'll find enough money to rebuild all those libraries that they need to be built, and perhaps even more. point of fact was, now this is one case where Richard Ryder was wrong. It wasn't 6 months. The election did not pass.
The ballot measure did not pass.
The ballot measure did not pass. It was defeated by the voters, and in 6 days, not 6 months, but 6 days, the city had the money, and shortly thereafter, the county, which was also going to be beneficiaries of this bond measure, it also had the money to open up all these libraries. And in fact, we found out that there was libraries which were funded. They had been funded, but that information had been kept from the voters. They said these libraries are not funded, so there was some dishonesty going on. My point here is that the libraries. I mean, who could be against libraries? Mm-hmm. But what the libertarians explained, and what the public, I think, realized, was that these libraries were already being paid for out of our existing tax base. And one of the issues that I campaigned on against this measure was that if we are now going to ask the voters to pass a bond measure for libraries, things we're already paying for with our taxes, then next time we're going to be asked to pass another bond measure for police, mm-hmm. something else we're already paying for, and fire and emergencies. There's all these things. Paying for it twice, 3 times?
3 times, 4 times.
So these are very popular measures.
Right.
The politicians get behind them. They want to have their name on the top of this library building as this is something that they put into mm-hmm. Of course, they don't build anything, but they got this bond measure passed and they got this library built. But point of fact is that the libertarians look at these issues, and we're the only political party, many times we're the only group to go against these so-called populist issues, who are willing to say, hold on a second here, let's give this thing another look. Let's look at this thing objectively, strip away all the emotionalism, right. and say, what are we really doing here? And why do we need this? And do we need this?
And it gets sold to them on emotion. So you've been instrumental in defeating many bonds?
Sure. Any voter in San Diego, next time that there's an election, I encourage you to open up your sample ballot, where all the ballot arguments are, and look at the people who are opposed to tax and spend measures. And many times you'll find that those are libertarians who have mm-hmm. written the argument opposing these measures.
So you also have been instrumental in stopping some of the pork spending on the sports stadiums and sports
that's right.
teams?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Well, of course, all these measures, these measures for these sports stadiums, these ballparks and so forth, really, it says subsidies to the ball players, mm-hmm. because when
we're already getting paid.
Well,
hundreds of thousands of dollars, even
millions. Oh, yeah,
millions of dollars to play. Of course. The adults playing a child game kind of thing.
There's a lot of sports enthusiasts who are libertarians, mm-hmm. but they see it. As they see it as it's still a free market system, and that if somebody wants to play baseball, that's great. And many libertarians are very good. They're big sports fans.
Sure.
They like the Lakers, or the basketball team, or the football team. Various football teams are all in favor of that, but they just feel the government should not be involved with that, particularly taxpayers, because what happens is it distorts the whole image. Mm-hmm. It distorts the financials of the game, and. Well, what happens is that the ball players demand more money, and the team owners, in order to pay this additional money, go to the municipalities and tell them, hey, if you don't give me a new sports stadium, we're going to move to someplace else. So they play this hold-up game.
Right.
They're
holding up the taxpayers.
They're holding up the cities, because if you don't pay us more money, we're going to go to some other city that's going to mm-hmm. pay us more money.
Right.
And point of fact is that some of these teams, like, where are they going to go? But the threat is there. And so what happens is that there's more money for the team owners, so the team owners pay the team players more money. And of course, then there's a leapfrog effect. Well, we have a bigger team because we pay more money, and
then the county though of San Diego was actually paying for empty seats